live stream of Influencer Discovery. It's about 1 p.m. Eastern. We're going to get started a minute or two after the hour, give folks a chance to come in. But if you're looking for our live stream webinar series live in Influencer Discovery, you're in the right place. We'll be kicking it off in just a minute or so. So stay tuned, listen to some of the hold music, and I'll be back in about All right. Thank you again for being a little bit patient as we have more of our fellow attendees joining from all over the globe. I want to thank you for joining me this Friday morning, afternoon, evening. If we have anybody that's joining from the other side of the world, this Saturday morning, that's a lot of dedication to your influencer marketing craft if you're joining me super early on a Saturday morning. My name is Ryan Hilliard. I'm the GM of the Americas here at Hype Auditor. I'm based in Raleigh, North Carolina. And this is a new series that we're doing. So if you've joined our webinars in the past, one of the things that we like to do is talk about how to strategically approach influencer marketing to be really effective. We like to interview with other folks. We like to share a lot of tips. But we thought it would be interesting to try to simulate doing things live, using our tool even live to complete specific tasks. And the response was pretty exciting as well. So I think a lot of folks are curious around different functionalities that we have in our tool, how you can make the most of it. Maybe there are people looking for new tools. Maybe there are people that are competitors who use competitive tools and they're just kind of curious. So if you've seen any of our LinkedIn posts, if you saw the landing page, like my goal today is to show how we can use our tool and a little bit of background information around like this persona that we're going to adapt to find high quality influencers quickly for outreach. Now we're going to stop at adding them to lists and outreach. We can't do all of that in a day. But our goal is to show how we can do this quickly. Now, just like any other webinar or live stream that we do, please go ahead and post your comments and questions in the chat. We'll also be recording this and we'll distribute it using the same link that you're using now on YouTube. Folks can check it back later. The format of this is going to be a little bit different. So the goal is that feel of actually using the tool. So I have a web browser pulled up. I'm going to actually do discovery. Now I'm going to give some background. I'm going to give some perspective on like who we are trying to be and what kind of problem we're trying to solve. But it's going to be a little bit more heads down, a little bit more pressures on to find these influencers. So again, chat's open, ask your questions. Unisoy, plant-based jerky, joining us from LA. Great to see you. Glad to see you this morning on a Friday. It's afternoon for me, but almost to lunchtime for you all over there. Please share where you're from, the other things that you're running into, any challenges you might have. Maybe we can address some of those on the call today. And then, as always, I'll share my contact information at the end if you have any questions. So let's just jump forward. So exciting times all around. Everything AI is out there. When we are overhauling some of our discovery solutions in our own tool, we incorporated a lot more artificial intelligence, a lot more machine learning, similar to how we do our analytical reports. If you open LinkedIn, if you look at the news, everything is AI. I went and saw the movie The Creator last night, which is a great AI film as well. So when I thought about how do we adopt a persona to show discovery in real time, to show how you as a brand might think about finding influencers, why not we just turn to artificial intelligence to just help us out? So I used ChatGPT and I asked it, what's a good direct-to-consumer e-commerce category that'd be perfect for influencer marketing? I have the challenge of finding at least 50 influencers in 30 minutes. I thought at least I would try to find myself an industry that would make it a little bit simpler, right? I know that some folks might be running into more challenges, more complex challenges, but this is how we are sort of approaching this task. So ChatGPT gave me 4 different categories. Beauty and skincare is pretty obvious. Fitness and wellness is pretty obvious. Fashion is pretty obvious. I really like the home decor and interior design category, though. It's a fascinating space. I used to work at an agency. I worked with a number of home decor direct-to-consumer companies, people that would ship mattresses and boxes and things like that. And it's just a fascinating space because it's something that everybody wants. Everybody wants to buy, but it's a considered purchase. There's so many options, and there's a really interesting like value-based pricing situation happening where you get high quality things that you put together yourself. You can still go to stores and sit on things. You can do trials of things. So I thought if we're going to adopt a persona throughout this discovery task, we're going to pretend to be this design company, this couches and home goods and home interior goods called Timelessly Design. I made that logo with the help of an AI tool as well. AI tools are just everywhere to help you with everything. So like I mentioned, it's a great space to be in. There's still more and more direct-to-consumer furniture and home goods companies joining the market because logistically, it's easier to get things out to people. People are much more comfortable buying things. And so this is the space that we're going to pretend to be in. We need to find creators. We are trying to take on a brand like Burrow or the name escapes me, Nathan James, people that, you know, are very, very much an e-commerce first brand, aesthetically pleasing. We're trying to take them on, but we have to fight through considered purchases, lots of options. And so this is our sort of opportunity and challenge. So when we're going through this, just keep this in mind. This is who we're going to be today. So I turn back to ChatGPT. We need to build an audience. One of the things that's really, really important when you're doing discovery is to be thinking about the audience that you want to target, not the influencer necessarily. The influencer is not going to buy your product. And if they do, that is one unit. What you want is to tap into their audience, the people that make up their following, that are engaged and active with them. You want those people to be the people that you sell to be the buyers of your product. So we're not trendy, but maybe a little bit trendier furniture company called Timelessly. We're aiming at folks maybe in my age range, mid 30s, maybe late 20s, maybe early 40s, folks that are trying to sort of upgrade their furniture situation from maybe something that they had as a hand-me-down in college or from family. So that's who we're trying to go after. When do people buy furniture? When's a good time to get in front of them? So I turned back to ChatGPT. When would somebody buy a new couch, right? That's my sort of goal here. People buy things when they're moving, when they're renovating. Those are two very, very common. When I'm updating things, I like to see that the furniture around me is also being updated. I want to feel it new. If I painted the room that I'm in a different color, but I left everything else the same, it's not really going to feel like a home remodel. So these are times that people will be focusing on. This will be the persona, the audience that we're trying to go after. We want to find these first-time homeowners, newly married or newly moving in together homeowners that are like, let's buy some new furniture, let's upgrade a little bit up our lifestyle from what we maybe have had for the past 10 years that we got at the Goodwill. And I don't mean like a sneaky good find at the Goodwill. I mean like bottom of the barrel Goodwill find. So home renos, moving into no home. This is the audience that we're going to be going after. So sum that up, individuals or couples moving to these new spaces. I think most of us know like this is going to lend itself probably more towards female in terms of like the amount of engagement and activity, but male and female, we don't really care. Mid-20s to mid-40s, folks want to graduate their aesthetic a little bit. We're not selling $8,000 couches. We're in that $2,000 range, right? We're moderately priced, high quality materials, visually pleasing. And our target audience are folks that just have Magnolia Network or Fixer Upper or HGTV on in the background constantly. They have Pinterest boards of what every single room is going to look like at some point in the future. They follow everything on Instagram tied to any HGTV designers like the Rambling Redhead. This is just who we want to reach. So how do we get in front of these people? People, honestly, like my wife. So we're going to shift directly into like, okay, so now we need to find 50 influencers that have an audience of those 20 to 40-year-olds that are looking to upgrade their aesthetic, that may turn to a product like Burrow or may turn to a brand like Nathan James, but we want them to turn to us. So now this is going to be completely live. I had tried this out a little bit, but we're going to shift from presenting our slides to presenting my screen. So let's jump over here. And I'm going to take a peek to see what you guys see. So here is Hype Auditor, right? So we could start the clock. It's 1:12 now. And we've got 30 minutes. So 1:42 is what my colleague Nick said. I have to find 50 influencers, high quality, in the next 30 minutes. I expect when I check back on StreamYard here and there to get encouragement. If we are struggling to find folks, everybody needs to sort of rally behind me so I can tell Nick that was easy. Make it harder next time. So we need to find some influencers. The way that we're going to track this is we're going to just build a list. So you all can keep me honest. I'm going to say 50 influencers. Let's add this list. 50 influencers in 30 minutes. This is our My Network area where basically you can collaborate, manage it sort of like a CRM. So we have no influencers in there. And so now we think about where do we start? We know the types of persona that we want to reach. We want to find these 20 to 40-year-olds, kind of understand what their interests are. We really want to get folks in front of folks that are following influencers doing renovations or DIY projects, because usually when somebody's following somebody doing DIY, it's because they're thinking about that themselves. And if they're thinking about that themselves, furniture is a topic that's going to come up. So I've got some notes, some ideas to start. So the first thing is, let's think about our competitor, right? So we have a lot of different discovery functionalities in Hype Auditor. Obviously, we could go straight to filters. We could go straight to looking for the types of concepts that people are searching for. But I am actually going to take a different approach. I know that Burrow is a great brand. They are selling to who I want to sell to, right? So I want to find people that sort of make up the following similar to that following of Burrow, because the overlap is really, really going to be uncanny. People that follow Burrow tend to be exactly like the customer that I would like. And so again, I'm thinking about the audience. And so with my initial list, and I'm going to make this a little bit bigger just so everybody can see it. Immediately, 968 similar looking influencers based off of just the makeup of their audience, the types of content that they put out. So we can see here at a high level category, DIY design, some beauty, maybe not as relevant, lifestyle could be good. Justin and Chelsea, Lane and Lane, this looks interesting. Relative engagement seems pretty high. We're going to be focusing on influencers in the US. We're going to be focusing on influencers maybe in that micro to mid-size. So actually, let's use our little slider. So let's do 10, or yeah, 20 is fine. 20 to 100 seems like a good spot to be in. So now we've narrowed our lookalikes a little bit to like, well, where are these influencers located, right? And I could tell at first glance, actually, some of these influencers look really, really interesting just based off of their profile photos. Now, I want to add a caveat here. When I'm doing research for an influencer to partner with, if I'm trying to drive people to do purchases, I actually don't really want to work with any designers. So I have to sort of thread this needle of people doing DIY, but they're not really promoting design services because they're probably not going to partner with a couch company like myself. So I want to find actual individuals. And so that's going to be looking through here. So quickly, I could just take a preview. Jessica Small, home decor, renovating my 1920s brick bungalow. Perfect. This is exactly what we want. We've got family. We've got posts that are recent about furniture and decor, things that she's doing in the house. So I think that this is safe to go ahead and add to our list. Let's just grab her. Let's keep on going down, actually. Megan Davis here, event planner, stay-at-home mom. There's some stuff. It doesn't really look like we're doing much renovating. There's some design stuff. I'm a little bit iffy here, so we're going to just move on down. This is sorted. So if you're ever using this tool for lookalikes, it's sorted by most alike. So if you jump, I'm going to jump straight to the 30th. It's going to be less like the influencer or the brand that I put in there than the top. So that's why I'm starting from the top. This feels a bit more close just based off of that content. Now it's home and van life. If there's a lot of van life, there's probably not a lot of space for a couch. So let's say we offer other goods and services as well. So we're going to tag her as well. We're making some progress here with our list. Amanda Johnson, good size influencer. Some of her recent content. Let's let that load. Looks like home decor. She's mentioning rugs. She's updating her bathroom. Again, perfect. So we've got 3 just from our lookalike of a different brand. Now, it probably will be worth to see, like, are they actually partnering with somebody like Burrow, partnering with some competitors? Because maybe they won't be a great fit. But I'm going to grab those 3. I'm going to add them to my list. 50 influencers in 30 minutes. We have 3. It's been about 6 minutes. So going too slow. So we need to pick up the pace. But just to give you some idea of how quickly we can do this. Now, Amanda Johnson actually looked pretty interesting. So if I go to her profile, I can actually scroll down. So I haven't unlocked this report, but we can see some details around her engagement rate relative to others is good. Really excellent growth. Again, when you see these little colored coded things, it's all relative to others that are similar size, posting similar content. So excellent growth for someone compared to this size. You're probably not going to see 24% growth for somebody with 1 million followers, right? It's just not going to work that way. So keep that in mind. Other stuff is locked, but I get all these preview metrics without unlocking a report. We'll unlock a report here just to ensure quality. So I'm going to shift to this tab. So here's a fully unlocked report. What I really want to verify is how good her audience is. So it's 55 out of 100. It's okay. It's not bad. It's just about average. But is the breakdown the types of people I want to reach? So US-based audience, female and male, right? Obviously, there's going to be a mix. But the skew is right in the age range. Maybe for female, it's a little bit young, but actually we have a good representation, 25 to 34, 35 to 44. So she's great, right? In terms of somebody that's posting content that her followers that are following her are absorbing and engaging with this content that would align with when they would probably want to buy furniture, right? That's the assumption I'm making. There's still the process of actually doing outreach to this person, getting them to respond. I do see that she's got an email here, so I can just add her to our outreach tool directly, send her an email or enroll her in a sequence and just do that outreach, right? So I'm going to shift back to this tab. So now we're going to go a little bit down the rabbit hole. Again, thank you everybody for joining. If you're joining a little bit late, we still have some folks joining a little bit late. We're live with going through discovery here. Please post your questions. We'll be going through them towards the end of this because I actually have to have the browser window open. Again, our persona is this furniture company that's trying to take on, the heavyweights like Burrow or Nathan James. So let's shift back over here. Here's the really, really cool thing about lookalikes that we can do from a profile that we think is really, really interesting is we can go straight to more lookalikes to this Amanda Johnson. So let me shift to this tab as well. So immediately, right? So this is where we were looking at Burrow before, but now we're looking at Amanda Johnson. Again, sorted by relevance, more than 1,000 people that are similar. Now we want to stay in the US for the influencer because that usually means that most of the audience is in the US because this is where we're going to ship. And then we can look at size. Again, we're trying to manage our size a little bit. So maybe from that 20,000 to 100,000 followers. So we have Nicole, Home and Style. Could be interesting. Talking about projects, that's pretty good. Some home decor. It's not like a big renovation, so it's okay. But maybe people follow her for some of the things that she's doing. Maybe it's not quite the style that we want, so we're just going to pass on her, actually. We've got Jessica Small, Home Decor. I think we already talked about her. She was already good. Somebody posting accessories and jewelry. Let's see here. Pretty close in terms of the content, but maybe since we've also got her in the accessories and jewelry category first, maybe a little bit less relevant. We also have some beauty. There is some nice images that make me think that she could actually be a good fit for us. So I'll tag her, but I'm a little bit on the fence. Here's our home and van life person again. Let's see here. DIY home and decor, always decorating, renovating our craftsmen. So again, renovating something. This is great. People that are following somebody that's renovating something, they're thinking about doing things in their own home. They're looking for inspiration. So she would be great. So we've tagged a couple more. We're going to add them to our list. 50 and 30 minutes. We're going too slow here. So I need someone to manage the pace here a little bit. But I think you can see as I'm going through here how we kind of chase down folks based off of their audience, right? Not so much just the influencer. Now, in this case, we want influencers that are posting certain content because we know that their audience will be also thinking about home projects and subsequently buying new furniture. But it's the most important thing is, are our buyers there? That's what matters. Otherwise, you just invest in an influencer and you drive no results. So, all right, so we've managed to dive into the lookalikes a bit. We're going to pause our lookalikes. We're going to shift gears here. One thing that I wasn't able to prepare in advance, but I can show kind of what a net result is we do have the ability to like look up influential customers. So let's say I've already built a subscriber list of folks that are interested in my products. Maybe I want to see if some of them are influencers. I could just upload that list of emails, or if I have it a Shopify shopping cart, I can just connect Shopify directly, but then we'll match to any influencers whose email addresses in our database match to the emails that you have. And so then you'll see, hey, here's a bunch of creators that were already on my email list, or maybe they were already customers, depending on what list you're using. These look like really, really easy ones to go after. Now, in this case, this is just to show you, so this isn't really going to be relevant for us, but I wanted to highlight that as one of the functions that we do have. Check off that we did that. I'm going to shift over to social listening now. So social listening, we want to try to find people that are already mentioning other brands or using other hashtags that would be used by folks that have that same audience that I'm looking for, right? I think you're following what I mean. It's not so much just to see like what is the trend of this hashtag. It's who are creators using this, and if they're using this hashtag, if I know that this is a good hashtag for finding my audience, these might be great partners to work with in the future. So if you've got a Hype Auditor account, you could do this yourself. We could go, I made a note here, we could go very on the nose, right? We could say something like somebody that mentions Studio McGee, similar types of products. This is a company that it's a target brand. But maybe I want to find creators that are mentioning Studio McGee. So I can immediately add that there's 700 posts in the last 90 days. So we're going to add that to our social listening. The next thing that we're going to add is we're going to say maybe Hearth and Hand, I believe, is the target brand for Chip and Joanna Gaines, Magnolia Network, and Fixture Up for Folks. So those would also be good ones. Like it's the right type of buyer. People that watch that show, people that mention that, their audience is probably going to resonate with what I'm trying to do. So cool sort of wow moment here. I'm going to close this out. And immediately I'm going to get a list of results, right? So if you have a Hype Auditor account, you're able to do this. And if you've not tapped into any of these other recruitment tools, I would highly, highly recommend it. Every day that you come back, you'll see new creators. You can scroll down this list and see, okay, so this is it for today. Now this is a long list for today. And then tomorrow there'll be a little line that runs across, says this is for now today. And you can see when they were added, when they last mentioned one of these mentions, what is the source that we're looking at, how many posts have gone out. So obviously somebody like Kristen Grace Home, she's mentioning Hearth and Hand 26 times. She could be really, really relevant to us. So we're going to take a look at some of the content that she's putting out. Lifestyle, attainable home decor, shopping at Target. She's posting some content. It's not so much DIY, but it is the right brand of affinity for us, right? People that would buy our product would also be interested in Hearth and Hand or Studio McGee. So I still think that we're going to flag her as somebody that would be a good fit. Let's see here, one post here. Let's try to find somebody else with more posts. So Hearth and Hand, Natalie Greathouse. This is decor. Remember, we don't really want designers. We want people that are actually doing renovations. So as we go down here, maybe we'll remove this Hearth and Hand filter because there's just a lot of people. Cupcakes, not so much. Jen's Gathering Nests. Let's take a look at this person's content. This is the mention itself. So you always can see, well, what is the mention that populated based off of my social listening? Again, sort of iffy. Appreciate you all bearing with me. This is one of the reasons that being live can be a little bit tricky. We're going to add this first one to our list. We're going to remove one of these social listening ones because it's probably just too popular. We're going to go over to Studio McGee and take a look here. So one thing I notice just looking at this list, this is a lot of designers, a lot of realtors, not really what we're looking for. So maybe I'm going to change entirely, and instead of mentions of a brand, maybe I'll just do mentions of a specific hashtag. So we could do something like Fixer Upper. Actually, that's probably going to be too off center. So we could do hashtag home renovation. Too much volume. DIY home renovation. So one of the things that you probably saw there as it was loading is that we're actually looking for content. And so if there's too much content, it's not really going to be a super useful list. It's going to be too big to dive into. And so we need to make it more reasonably sized. Now we do have a really cool report for like just running it at high volume on hashtags that could be relevant. And so I'll jump over to that in a second. But that's why you're seeing that alert. So DIY home renovation. We're just going to do a quick spot check for people that seem like they could be relevant based off of the use of the hashtag, just looking at their content, interior design. Again, it's okay. Maybe she's doing something with her own home. Here's something that says that she's doing a little bit of work herself. So this is good. So we're going to add her anyway. Maybe worth reaching out to. Plus, I'm running a little bit out of time. So we want to be mindful of me meeting that time limit that I gave myself. Mom and DIY content. Mom DIY, that's sort of right in our wheelhouse of what we're trying to do. So let's add a couple more folks to our network, and then we're going to shift. Oops, wrong one. All right, so we've done social listening. We can't really do any landing pages or offers here, but one of the things that I do want to highlight while everybody's on here, if you haven't seen this yet, you can recruit, right? So you could build your own landing page. So if I was to build a landing page for Timelessly Designed, this is again, just included if you have one of our subscriptions, but you can custom brand a landing page for inbound, right? So if I was going to create a landing page, I can ask all of the information that I would like. I will put my birthday in case anybody wants to send me something. No, that didn't really work. Let's do early enough date. One of the cool things here is you can start putting in your own questions, pre-qualification questions. So these can map to fields directly in your network. So in your CRM, I want to know the answer to these questions. So are you in the process of doing a home reno? Yes. You're the first partnership, right? So you can do whatever you would like, and then we will automatically pull those over. We're not really able to simulate that here for our discovery, but I wanted to highlight that as something else for driving more response. We also have a Chrome extension. So now let's shift over to search is going to be obviously one of the most impactful things, but I want to shift over to a competitor analysis report as another way of finding qualified influencers. So one of the things that you can think about when you're trying to find new quality creators really, really quickly is don't just think about your direct competitors, people that are trying to buy couches, but what are other things that people might buy? So Caraway Home, I get ads for this all the time. When do people buy new cookware? When they get married, when they move into a new place. Same time you buy new furniture. And so I ran a report on this brand, Caraway. And so what these reports do is it will pull in all of the influencer engagement around a brand or a hashtag. And so in this case, it's just on mentions of this brand in the United States over the past 6 months. I can see the distribution of engagement rate from high quality influencers, okay influencers, our estimates around cost efficiency, quality audience. I can see that activity over time. So more and more people are mentioning Caraway over time. I can look at it from its sponsored, or I can look at it organically. I can see the actual engagement. I can see Caraway, United States, exactly what I want. Age and gender, maybe a little bit young, but 25 to 34, 35 to 44, good percentage here. So right type of audience. So the influencers that they're working with, they might not be DIYers because this is cookware, but their audience is the same type of person, probably going through the same sort of life moment because they're getting cookware, they're getting married, or they're moving into a new place. It's just, that's what you do when you buy cookware. And so I can actually scroll down through this report, look at different information about these influencers, and then dive into the influencers themselves for ideas. So let's say I want to look at all of the influencers that are mentioning this. I still want to have my thresholds for size. I kind of want to just look at people that are being paid to do it. I still want high active quality audience. Maybe high performing influencers would be good. There's more filters around here on age and verified and account type. But we're just going to show these 9. So now we've whittled this down to like 9 people are mentioning this brand. that are a little bit different than maybe what we would think, right? So we have family and lifestyle, we have home and DIY and design. Like these people are kind of no-brainers for us, but there's other folks here that have that audience that we want, right? A good percentage, but maybe a little bit off center, but it's still the right person, right? We're still trying to reach the right people. And so maybe worthwhile to add these folks to our list as well. Here's another interesting one, a teacher, right? So if I was, no, she's based in Australia, so not probably going to be for this, but I can look at the content that she put out from this report to see, hey, is this verify that like my hypothesis that this is the right time is accurate? First housewarming present. So unfortunately, she's in Australia. Maybe when I want to move over to Australia with my shipping and sales and marketing and promotion, but I'm able to capture like, hey, even though this is cookware and other home goods, it's still housewarming. She's still like, it's in an empty place. She still needs furniture. So people following her are probably going to be engaging in that as well. And so it'd be great to get in front of her with our product had she been in the US. So let's just go back to influencers. Let's grab those 9 that we needed. At least a couple of them. And then we're going to have to go through the home stretch on discovery. So I'm going to open these ones up and add them to my network. Build up my sorry, I'm doing this on the off screen. I'm just adding them to the lists. I'm up to 10 now. And I think with Aaron Costa, that puts me at 11, and Susan Rhee would make me at 12. All right, so now if we look at my network, see how folks are doing here. No questions so far. Feel free to pop up if you have any questions. If we look at my network, you can see I've got 12 folks, right? So we still need to find a lot more. But what we've been doing is sort of circular ways of trying to get at this audience. Now we can go a bit more direct. So if we're going to go to recruitment, one of the most common things that people want to use is just our search function. So the first thing we're going to do is we do want to build in some caveats around size. So 125,000. I don't really care about the influencer gender. I do want personal accounts. We do want influencers in the United States. You can see I'm whittling my Instagram list down. I'm focused just on Instagram with this because the age that I'm trying to go after is just more appropriate for Instagram. I'm also trying to replicate some of the success of these other brands. Language is fine. Influencer age is fine. We do want quality audience. So at least greater than 60 audience quality score. We're okay with gender. We're okay with, well, we do want audience location in the United States as well. We'll probably get most of that anyway because the influencers in the United States and they're a little bit smaller. So here we have 150,000 results. Now we can try to use our niche search to whittle this list down even further, or niche search, depending on what side of the aisle that you think about this on. So one of the things that's unique about this niche search is a little bit different than like what our keyword search used to be. So historically, keyword search is I'm looking for this exact keyword, or maybe like some fuzzy matching misspellings, kind of similar words, but I'm looking for just this word. So if an influencer is posting content but not using the word that I want them to use, they're not going to show up into my results, but they might still be very, very relevant. They just didn't happen to use the word that I was looking for. So this improvement that we recently made within our UI, what it does is instead of treating all of these sort of keywords like look very vertically for just this one concept, it says, let's place all of these influencers on like a 3-dimensional graph. They're all in this sort of space. The influencers that are talking about this type of content live in this sort of space. And so you don't need to try to find the exact words they're using anymore. You just need to find the types of content that they're putting out. We will do all of the hard work of saying this word basically means this. This word basically means this. Let's pull this all together. And we will then map it based off of that sort of audience relevance. So it's a more impactful way of searching than what keywords were before. So we don't need to think as much about keywords and more so concepts. So something like DIY projects is going to whittle our list down. Let's see if I have any questions from that. No questions. Everybody's doing well. So here's keywords. One thing I think that's really important is making sure that they're working with other brands. It just tells me that they have some comfort with commercial relationships. I can probably expect some level of results that somebody that has good partnerships. I can also use these brand partnerships to know, is it the right type of audience based off what some of these other brands are doing? A couple of other things I want to highlight. This, we're filtering for in the US. This 75% means 75% of the active audience is in the US. Our threshold was 10, but 75% means I'm delivering directly to a lot of relevant people. So Kelly, Basil, DIY projects, and home finds. Not so much with the home finds, but if she's got stuff around DIY projects and at-home stuff, I think that that would be good. We've got Bree, DIY home and crafts. Again, she's not a designer, but she does design things, right? So people that follow her are looking for inspiration for their home. Again, very relevant to us as well. We have no mentions here. This person is just a designer, so maybe not the right fit. Modernizing our European style Texas home though. So she's actually doing a renovation. So that actually is great. We'd have to decide if our products were the right fit in terms of design style, but actually I think it's a lot better. Camille, creating dream spaces, inspiring home designs. Maybe more of a designer, like a at-home designer. We're running out of time. So not really a fit. Let's keep on going down here. We have Molly. Restoring our house. So home restoration, this is another great topic. So we could say, hey, let's take these people. We're going to add these 4 to our lists. Nick's going to be celebrating because I didn't quite make it. We have all of our other thresholds for like requirements for where these people are. Now I'm just going to change the niche search. So now let's just do like home restoration. People that are converting old castles and barns into homes, right? That's what we're aiming for here. Don't need that brand. We have somebody that has a home account, right? So home renovator, real estate investor, maybe iffy home. I mean, there's some good partnerships there, so we'll add her, but we're not really looking for real estate, but if she's doing some home renovations, that's good to know. Let's look at Harper's Home and Garden, Master Gardener, maybe a little bit less relevant, Joshua Tree Cabin. So here's somebody that's restoring a cabin, great. Colorful Home and Style, restoring 35 acres, great. Restoration is going to be great for us. So like really that's the concept that we want to continue to build into. And yeah, I think I want to pause. Let me see if we've got any questions for folks. It's again, this is a very different format in terms of what we've been doing webinar wise in the past. I wanted to try to simulate how can you do this at scale, looking for quality, ensuring the relevance of the audience. Right now we're at 20. I'm not going to make everybody sit through all 50, but I wanted to see if any folks have any questions while I'm pulling up just sort of like the wrap up slides that we have today. Let's shift our share to, right. So not quite 50, but 20 high quality, relevant, like we could easily just do a search, grab 30, not dig any deeper, not try to sort of find the needle in the haystack. But that wasn't the goal here. The goal was, how do you find sort of niche relevant folks? And I think that we were able to show a number of different methods of doing that, as well as ones that we just weren't able to go into. So I would still say check the box. We'll tell Nick, you know, I voted 25. We were really close to that 25 initial vote, not quite 50, but I want to let you all have your Friday back. So finding influencers with niche searches, finding lookalikes, using social listening, using similar brands. We could put competitors' brands directly into those. We have competitor tools. We have lookalike tools, we have mentions tools to see who are the people that they're partnering with. Maybe if there are earned mentions of a competitor, I have a chance to go to them and say, hey, you should really look at our chair for your living room instead of, that other company's chair. And I would love to do a sponsored relationship. I'll give you the chair if you can post some content about it, right? There's lots of creative ways to get to folks. And if you're digging a little bit deeper, it's easier to do that outreach and complete the whole process. If you sort of stay surface level, give me the top 100 people in DIY, everybody else is searching that way. So it's important to be able to go a little bit further. We also talked about customer match. We also do have offers. So we've got tens of thousands of influencers on an influencer product on the other side of the tool. So you can also put offers out there directly within the tool, put in all of your requirements. I can show what that looks like. Let's share. Let's share. Let's move this. And if you can see here, we have our offers where you can put in, okay, what platforms do we want to have? Where do we want our people to be? What's our target audience? Gender, age, category of influencer. Maybe I'm okay with anything. Maybe I have specific size requirements. Maybe I have specific age requirements. I can name my offer. So we can also do a lot of that inbound recruiting we didn't get into because it's hard to simulate that in one of these webinars. So let's pause for questions. So a couple of questions that we have that we'll go through real quick. Is everything demonstrated today included in your light plan? No, it's not. So our light plan is really designed for like individual use. Small scale individuals. If you're interested in more of like what we would call like a team or a business plan, you unlock more of that functionality for sure, as well as the ability to collaborate a bit. But you can reach out to our team if you have more questions around the differences there. Farah, you asked, is there a way to do a dialogue with these influencers? Yes. So once I find them, right, it's really, really easy to send a bulk message out to these influencers. This is going a little bit off the cuff here, but let's say I have my network. I've got my 20. I could just send a message to any of the ones that have email addresses directly within here. I can add follow-ups, I can add sequences, I can customize it, I can personalize it. All of that can be done directly within the platform. So that full cycle, yes. So to answer your question, yes. Another question, how effective is the tool in the Middle East area? I've tried several tools that are very good in the States, in Europe, but very poor in the Middle East. I think really what I would suggest is just reach out and we could just try it, right? I understand, we definitely understand that as a global company, 60% of our customers are actually international, not in the US at all. We have a really, really great base for international discovery and search. But ultimately, if it's just a matter of, hey, I just want to see, are the results relevant? We could just do that live. Hey, let's just see. What kind of things would you search for? Are these the types of creators that you're looking for? That would be the easiest way to do that. I'm not quite sure about that last comment there. So we're just going to keep moving on. Just to wrap up, in about 2 weeks, on the Thursday, the 2nd, we're going to be launching our holiday webinar. So very different format from this. This will be much more of that traditional, let's go through influencer marketing trends, e-commerce trends, consumer behavior trends based off of last year and what we expect for this year. We'll have a lot of tips and recommendations just for tightening up your influencer execution. It's probably a little bit late at this point for building a new influencer plan in early November if you're trying to get things live for Black Friday. But we'll have a good list of things that make sure that you're looking at this and this and this, as well as a number of holiday trends to look out for. And we'll have 2 more webinars following those. One will be around crafting compelling content. How do you ensure that the content that the influencer is putting out is going to be effective? why is it that sometimes I do the best practice for content and it does amazing, and I do the exact same thing and it does horrible? We're going to try to break that down and come up with more recommendations that will be later in November, something that you could potentially adopt for the end of the year. And then we'll also have a Cyber 5 recap at the beginning of December, where we'll be using those market analysis tools to break down who are the brands that really made a dent using influencer marketing over the Cyber 5 period. And the goal being there will be some learnings there that you could apply and steal from and implement before the end of sort of the holiday shopping season. So for this upcoming webinar, let me drop the link in the chat for folks to be able to pull that up and go ahead and register. We'll be sending out email reminders as well. But here is where you can register for the upcoming webinar in 2 weeks. I want to thank you all again. I definitely would appreciate any feedback on this sort of different live format. We'll refine it as we go. It was a lot of fun. No one tell Nick that I didn't quite get to 50, but I was really trying not to cheat either by just grabbing a bunch and not looking a little bit deeper. But I want to thank you all again for joining me today. Enjoy the rest of your Friday, the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you next time.